Now in their second season, Leadership of the Leaf with more cigar knowledge and more leadership insights. Two great leaders smoking great cigars. Here's our host, Austin and Dice. Grab a drink and jump in with a cut and a light.
All right. Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of Leadership of the Leaf. My name is Dice.
And I'm Austin.
All right. Well, Mr. Austin.
Sir.
You know what our topic is for cigars today?
You know, I feel like it has something to do with this long, skinny piece of tobacco in my hands. That would be known as a Lonsdale.
That would
cigar.
Be a true story. True.
Not a Lancero, Lonsdale.
We're going to have a long look at them.
Ooh, a long look at a Lonsdale. All right. I like it. It's even more rare almost than a...
Yeah, I will share some insight. Leadership portion. Let's look at some goals of leadership.
Ooh, goals of leadership. My goal as a leader is to lead. Obviously. Boom. Yes. Done. Topic dropped. Got it. Next.
All right. I guess we'll just do an hour of the cigar topic then.
Hell yeah.
All right, we'll get to that.
Yeah, no, I'm down. I'm excited for it. But first, what are you smoking? What Lonsdale are you smoking?
All right. So my Lonsdale, I went to my brick and mortar and I was like, hey, I would like a Lonsdale. And he looked at me. He was like, are you serious?
The fuck?
Yeah. I was like, yes. So he searched the store and he pulled out a Lancero. Then he was like, I got this Lonsdale. And he said it's a medium to full in strength. It's aged to perfection with the finest selection of tobaccos. I'm just saying what he said. The cigar is complex, rich. It's supposed to be like leather and cedar.
Okay.
The wrapper is actually slightly oily, and I like that. Habano 00 wrapper.
Okay.
Aged Habano, Ecuadorian binder.
Ooh. Dominican
and Nicaraguan fillers. And I said, I'll take it because that's really all he had. And it was a ZR Lonsdale Especial.
Ooh, okay. I'm down with that. What Hennessy are you pairing it with? Because I'm not even asking what you're pairing it with. It's Hennessy. No, it's Hennessy. It's what you drink. And that's what you drink on your birthday, Jesus' birthday. It don't matter.
Well, this time I'm keeping it nice and simple, my friend. Hennessy VS, one spear of ice, and I'm actually trying out my new cup. I believe we talked about it before. It has that little bullet going through it.
Yeah.
Hit you in the lips. I kind of like that.
Ooh, that's nice. There you go. All right. Well, I decided I went and dug around my humidor, and I pulled out a Lonsdale.
Oh, yes, you had one.
I had one, which was amazing. And so, here's how I got this. I bought a 5-pack, and this was an extra. Like, hey, buy a 3 5-packs, get like so many cigars free, right? So I bought like three 5-packs or 2 5-packs, whatever it was. Anyways, this was a free cigar. Like, I bought so many other cigars. This was one of the ones that I had just for free because they're like, these don't sell. But I'm not saying it's a bad cigar. I'm just saying like it's an unusual size. It's not something that I would literally normally just go pick up for myself. Like, can't wait to have a Lonsdale. Yes. Anyways, I don't normally look for a Lonsdale, and so this was a free one, and it is a Room 101 Farce.
All right.
I feel like I got to keep puffing on this thing because it's going to go out. But anyways.
I'm the same. I'm still the same.
All right. So, the Room 101 is a 2018 release. It is an Ecuadorian wrapper, an Indonesian binder.
Oh, I like that.
And the fillers are Dominican Republic, Nicaraguan, and Pennsylvanian, which is interesting because normally you don't find that many different types of tobaccos as fillers.
That's true.
They kind of get muddied together, but so I'm interested to see how this looks. It's so far it's got a nice smooth. It's not really toothy wrapper, but it's nice and smooth, no blemishes. It's been sitting in my humidor for probably, I don't know, 5 months, 6 months, something like that. But yeah, it the cold draw was, I don't know, I got some dry cedar and earthiness off of it, but yeah, I'm excited to see how this smokes, because this is probably going to be maybe my second Lonsdale ever.
I really believe this is my first one.
I'm trying to remember if I've ever had one or if I've had a Lancero before.
Ooh. All right. So Lonsdale, what is this Lonsdale about?
I don't. They're just bigger. They're bigger Lanceros, right?
Well, yeah. What the size normally is 6 to 7 inches long. Normally 42, maybe 44 ring gauge. I know they can go up to 47, but they normally stick around the 44 area.
Yeah, the traditional is 44.
Yeah. One thing I will say is an excellent starter-like size cigar for a relaxing afternoon.
Yeah. This is one I can see sitting on the back porch. And I say sitting, just kind of like lounging on the back porch with something. But my problem is with something like this.
Yeah.
It's so long. You gotta make sure you have your ashtray nearby. Because that ash is going to end up falling off. If you don't have a well-constructed cigar, it's just going to end up falling off. It's going to float away and get everywhere.
Well, you said well-constructed. So making of these cigars is known as Cervantes. That's the production name for making a Lonsdale cigar. Why it got that name, I'm not sure. I tried to research as much as I can, but Cervantes is primarily a gender, not general,
Christmas.
gender neutral type name of Spanish origin, which can translate to servant or the ladies' man.
Ooh. Okay. Ladies' man. I don't. Really thin pencil dick, ladies' man. Got it. All right, cool.
However they want to go about that. That's the making of it. That's they use that for the making of Alonso.
Okay. All right. Fair. All right. Sure. We'll go with that. Let's do that. So doing the research. It was named after Hugh Cecil Lowther, the 5th Earl of Lonsdale. Which is part of the peerage, and a peerage.
Yeah, what the fuck is a peerage?
Peerage and a parch tree, right? No, peerage is a complex system of hereditary and lifetime titles within the United Kingdom. So there's 5 ranks that exist today, which would be Duke, Marquess, Earl, Viscount, and Baron. And those are those fucking English pricks who have.
Careful.
What? We got our independence from them. We won.
I still have family over there. Careful. We'll fight to the death.
Is that a duel, good sir? You come over here and slap me with a glove?
Finish my Lonsdale. So, Earl, what? Is that in the same lineage as saying Sir Winston Churchill?
Well, Sir is a term of knighthood.
All right.
But if you go to who's Prince? Was it Prince Harry? Is the Duke of
Wales?
Wales, yeah. So he's the Duke of Wales, right? So then you have the Earl of Suffington. I don't know.
Weaselton.
Yeah, it's Wesselton.
So I get it. So it's just a lineage of hereditary.
It's just a title.
Yeah, you've been in royalty, sort of.
Yeah, you've been bestowed that title by the king or the queen, and usually it comes with a bunch of land X amount of like in old times came with so much land, so many servants, and so many like people that you were required to like kind of rule over in the king's stead for. So it's like that's all it is.
All right.
Earl is the oldest title.
Named after Earl.
Yeah, an old Earl. Sounds like my cousin.
That's Earl Simmons.
So, so he was an Earl of the civil parish in the South Lakeland district of Cumbria, England, on the River Lune.
So somewhere in England.
But he was a huge sports fan. He founded the England's National Sporting Club. He donated the original Lonsdale belts for the boxing championship trophy. And the famous Lonsdale brand of boxing apparel was also named after him.
Oh, that makes sense. I've seen that brand before. I've seen that actually quite often. So that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So they share the cigars and boxing. They just go hand in hand.
So they're named after that guy. The boxing guy.
Very much so.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. All right, Earl of Lonsdale cigar.
So, I know that this cigar is longer than a Corona. A Corona is 5.5 to 6 inches. Yeah. It's thicker than a Panatella, which is 34 to 38. Where usually the Lonsdale, Lancero, a lot of people use them interchangeably. Because like Lancero would be like a 7.5 by 38.
They're skinnier.
It's skinnier, so this is a little bit more thicker of a Lancero, really.
Which catch me by surprise with your cigar, because it had 3 different fillers in it, correct?
Yeah.
So I know a lot of these longer type cigars, for those that enjoy these, the flavor normally is more introduced by the wrapper, because you have more of the wrapper in consideration of a normal size cigar, as like a Gordo or a Toro. Right, yeah.
Because it's not as fat, so.
I'm curious to how much of the filler they actually utilized in making this, well, especially your cigar, because there's 3 different kinds. So there's not much room for that filler in it.
No, I don't know. I mean, it looks well packed, judging from my cut line and judging for the foot before I lit it. It looks well packed, and it's solid. There's not a soft spot to this thing.
That's good.
So, I mean, it's well packed, well built, as I would expect from a Room 101. But it's so so good. Are you in your first third? I know these kind of tend to smoke a little bit quicker.
They do smoke a little bit quicker, and I am in my first third, and I am enjoying it.
Okay. What you getting?
Mixed with more of the binder, being that the binder is like a Habano. I can definitely get that leather, and I can definitely taste cedar. There's not much else coming through, but it's burning very well. My ash is holding up pretty strong. My eyeliner or burn line is razor sharp, well constructed.
Yeah, so I'm getting cedar, black pepper on the back end, but there's a caramel, vanilla component hint in there. It's like a hint of sweetness. The smoke has like a chewy character to it. It's interesting. It's definitely good. Like I would put this firmly as a medium plus. The retrohale brings out the black pepper a lot. It's going great with my rum.
Did you say what you was drinking?
No.
Oh, look at you hiding out.
So I went with a local rum made here in Northwest Florida. The brand, I've drank the brand on air before. It's called Esprit de Cru.
Oh yeah.
And I am drinking their Crystal rum, which is their white rum, and it is delicious.
Oh, all right. They actually hit us back on Instagram. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not, but that's awesome.
Yeah, they was like, thanks for supporting us, or however they worded it. I don't know. High five to them. Of course, I'll tag them again.
Yeah, tag them again because I'm going to be going. Actually, I got to go over there and pick some more up. The wife says I must, so if I must, then I must.
If I must, yeah.
Yes.
One thing I will say about a Lonsdale size, just by looking at, because I'm not too familiar with smoking them all that much, but this appears to be a great option if you're looking to just smoke something that's going to take a little more time than a Corona. But it also has the advantages of a thinner cigar, which will give you more of that wrapper.
Yeah, I mean, if you find a wrapper that you really like, a wrapper and a binder, I would say, duo that you kind of like, it's really good. I mean, this Lonsdale is actually pretty good. It's burning nicely. It's burning a little bit quicker than I expected. Maybe that's because I'm puffing on it so much, but my burn line's good. It's razor thin. It's well constructed. The ash is very, very well stacked in there. Yeah, it's very good. I would say that these would offer you at least as good of a smoking experience as a Corona. However, the problem is you're just not going to be able to find them. We searched for this one in the brick and mortar, so yeah. You might find Lanceros. Lanceros are usually more common than a Lonsdale. I don't know how many people go in there and be like, well, give me a Lonsdale. No, most people are going to be like, go give me a Robusto, or go give me a Toro, or a Corona, or Corona, not a Corona Gorda, but or a Lancero. If they're looking for something thin, they're going to go for like a Lancero. They're not going to be like, no, I don't want a Lancero. I want a Lonsdale.
Yeah, that's what I ended up doing. One thing I did note about this cigar that I got, the ZR, is Lonsdale is in its name. So they specifically made this cigar as a Lonsdale.
Yeah.
So I guess they're trying to make sure that everyone knows that this size still exists.
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely not that many Lonsdales. Just a quick Google search to tell you that there's not that many, not that many out there. Go to your brick and mortar, go try to find a Lonsdale, and you're gonna have a hard time.
Well, yeah, you definitely have to go to an experienced brick and mortar, because I went to a very experienced brick and mortar, and he was scratching his head a little bit. He was like, "The fuck, did I even have these?" And he came across this. Then he shared all the information about it, and I was like, "Cool, sold." Not that I had that big of a choice.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So sometimes due to its thinner size, you can have some burn issues. You also got to be careful when cutting these, because if you go too aggressive of a cut, and it's not well constructed, your entire cigar can come unraveled. I did a deep V cut, and I got lucky that I got a good well constructed cigar, because my V goes well past my triple cap. At the points, it goes past my triple cap, but I haven't started unraveling yet, so that's good. If I had to do it over again, I'd just do a very shallow guillotine cut on this and probably call it a day, or maybe even a punch. Like, I could do a punch on this.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a little thin to go for a punch, so I went with a straight cut, a guillotine cut. I went for that, and I just snipped off. Mine had like a little pigtail on it, so I just chopped that off, and I seem to be good to go. You mentioned that construction issues, and I think that's kind of playing a part in my head, because I'm smoking this faster than I would normally smoke a cigar, and I think it's because it's so thin. I think my brain is like, you got to keep that thing lit, man. You got to keep puffing, and I'm going pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going quicker than I thought. So to completely just get off of our train of thought here, I found out some news this week, and I feel like I should share this with you and our listeners.
Oh, I am all ears, my friend.
So, you remember the brick and mortar I went to? They said that they were proud of their plume.
Oh, I do remember that.
And the guy was very short-tempered and didn't really want to seem to help me.
Yes.
Okay. That place has gone downhill. They got rid of their industrial humidification sources. to where now they have a how do I even explain this? They have a bucket of water in the corner.
Stop it. You're kidding.
I'm not. And there's standing water on the floor of their humidor. and I was like, hey man, like there's standing water on the floor. He's like, yeah, that's what happens. I'm like, the fuck?
What do you mean what happens?
That's what you got, huh? That's what happens? I was like, oh, okay. I was like, so I went and looked and had like no selection of anything. And I was like, hey man, do you have like, I don't know. I was pulling out brands that I knew that he wasn't gonna have boutique brands. So I was like, hey man, do you just have like Alec Bradley? And he's like, I can't get Alec Bradley. And I was like, what? He's like, I can't get Alec Bradley. I was like, homie, they're over at like this other place, like just down the road. And he's like, yeah, I can't get them here. I'm like, all right, fine. Romeo and Julieta. Yeah, I can't get those either.
You can't be a cigar place without Romeo and Julieta.
And I'm like, my father just can't get those. What the fuck can you get that? Can you get Swisher Sweets?
Stop. No.
And he's like, I haven't tried. And he's like, those gas station cigars. This is a real cigar place. And I was like, not really. So fast forward like a week. Fast forward like a week, right?
Oh, all right.
I drive past this place. Shut down. The place is closed. He's selling it. The cigar bar is closed. The cigar shop's closed. He went out of business.
I'm shocked I am.
Yeah, right?
Jeez.
But it was just one of those things because I was just like, okay, first you're proud of your plume, which is fine. I can understand that to an extent. I was like, and secondly, you got rid of all industrial humidification processes, like any of the industrial humidifiers. You went and got rid of, and to put a bucket of water in the corner.
Yeah, I would have been like, my humidification system is broken, and this is what I got to do until we get it fixed. That would have been a plausible answer.
To me, I would have been like, you can't go get like 3 residential humidifiers and plug those things in or something.
I'm in a pinch. This is what I had to do. Whatever. I got a bunch of Bovito packs laying around on the shelves.
Shit, something. Fuck me, dude. Like, Jesus.
Oh man.
So yeah, so now he's selling, because he was selling all of his cigar stuff. He was selling out of his cigar, like his humidor cases, his the lockers for the people in the lounge that had their own private lockers. He sold that cabinet. I was like, wow.
Well, that shows you.
Maybe you don't know everything, jackass.
Are you proud of that, sir?
Yeah, I ended up talking to another friend of mine, and he has an interesting idea. My cigar went out. He wants to open up a barbershop. He is a barber by trade. He wants to open up a barbershop, and then have a cigar shop attached to it.
Oh, that'd be badass.
So it's like old school. You come in, sit, have a cigar, go next door, and like those shops will be connected. Go next door, get your hair cut, hang around, go back to this, you know what I mean? The whole old school kind of barbershop feel. I was excited with that. I was like, I'd go check that out.
How long to wait? I'll pick up a Toro.
Yeah. Couple months, he said.
Well, yeah. I was saying that if I was in line waiting for a haircut, I can be like, I'll pick up a Toro while I wait.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Hey, let me pick up one of these Robustos real quick. You got time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Smoke. Go get my hair trimmed up. Go get all faded up, nice and neat, lined up, looking good. All right. I'm feeling fresh. Let's go.
Right. Keep in contact. We use that.
Yeah, exactly. So I was excited, but yeah, he's he's the one who bought some of that stuff from the old dude, and I told him, I was like, hey man, I said I would just, if it was me, make sure you clean that stuff really good.
Yeah.
Make sure you ain't bringing no mold into your new store or anything. He's like, oh no, I've already done it. It's in the process of being cleaned and rehumidified properly and everything. I was like, good man.
Good. Yes.
Good man.
I just had to touch up my cigar as well. And saying that, I was going to lead into, because we were talking about the thinner size and construction issues.
Right. Possibly burn issues. Sorry, I got off on a tangent.
No,
I just thought
we're
that
good.
was an interesting tidbit.
No, that's a great tidbit. But my point of bringing that back around, because we're nearing a commercial break, bringing that back around is some manufacturers have got this down to an art. And being that this is a Lonsdale special from ZR, I would think they have it down to an art. We have been talking a bit, so maybe that's why it went out. But I'm pretty sure, like yours, my construction is very well.
Well, so my thing is I think what ended up happening is my ash fell off, and then I started talking, so I didn't have the ash to protect my ember.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up pulling it out. But I did notice when I knocked the rest of the ash off to kind of like relight it, I did notice a little bit of tunneling.
Oh, wow. All right. I do know with the longer ones, semi-pro tip, you want to clear out the chamber every now and again.
Yeah. Are you in your second, third, or you want to do it after we come back from break?
We can do it now if you want, and then take a break.
All right. Yeah.
I don't know how close you are.
I'm pretty much there. So on this, as it shifts us into second, third, that vanilla note has moved up. It's still dry cedar and a black pepper that I'm getting, but vanilla is like way more prevalent in there.
Yeah.
The retrohale's toned down quite a bit. And that burn still razor sharp. Man, it's so good though. Like that burn line is fire. Other than going out because I've been talking, this thing is actually super enjoyable. The draw is a notch on the tougher side, the tighter side than I like, but just not even anything to complain about.
Well, when I did my cold draw, I was like, oh no, this thing is going to be a tight draw. But as I go more and more through it, I guess the tobacco's more expand because it's heated up. It's definitely, my draw has been even. It's been nice. The cigar is actually pretty amazing. It doubled down on leather. The cedar is a back note, but it definitely doubled down on leather. And I would have to say that's probably due to the Habano wrapper. Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah. I think I get a little bit of leather on my retro.
Stop it.
You dying over there?
Yeah, I retro inhaled incorrectly. I'm due.
I got the black lung, Pop.
Yeah, it's okay.
Good Lord. Wouldn't last one day. All right. So when we come back, we're going to talk about some goals of leadership.
All right.
Goals of leadership. So we just talked about the Lonsdale. We took a long look at that Lonsdale. And now we're going to talk about some leadership and some of the goals that you should strive for when becoming a leader. And if you don't have these as your goals, maybe consider asking yourself why they're not your goals.
That's a good look at it. All right. Right after this break.
Yep.
All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to Leadership of the Leaf. I'm just letting you know, if you want to see what kind of cigars that myself, Dice,
and Austin,
what we're smoking on each episode, check out our Instagram on Leadership of the Leaf. All one word.
At Leadership of the Leaf. And please, leave us a comment. Send us a message with what other questions or what you guys are smoking on. Maybe you guys have some suggestions for us. that we'd love to give it a shot.
At Leadership of the Leaf on Instagram.
Hello, this is Kathy, better known name as Kat from a Case Expert Painting, and you are listening to the Leadership of Leaf hosted by Dice and Austin.
Hey everyone, welcome back. We are now in the leadership portion, and we're going to talk about some goals of leadership.
Goals?
Yes.
My goal is to be a leader.
Well, one of the things you should do, sir, is become a more active listener.
Huh?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you say? Yeah, that's crazy. No, active
attention to what
listening.
people are saying.
Well, and you could do this by a couple ways. You could show it in your body language. Lean forward, eye contact, nodding, engaged, saying yes, I understand. That's and then you can give that person a little bit of feel good and check yourself when you say, if I say, hey, this is really bothering me because of X, Y, and Z, and you go, okay, what I'm hearing from you is that you're bothered by Z, X, and Y, and you don't know what to do about it. Is that kind of correct? And you rephrase.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. So now I understand your problem, and I've actively listened to you. Let's work on a solution together, or whatever the case is. Hey, I hear that you want to raise because of these different things.
Yeah. One thing that I know is hard for, especially strong alpha males, the balls to the wall type leaders. One thing that's hard for them to learn to accept is constructive. The key is in constructive criticism.
Yeah, the problem that I see what a lot of leaders do. Actually, I just had this. So in my work center, there is a survey. We got a new boss, and so every 4 months, somewhere between 4 months and then it's 4 months, and then it has to go for about a year and a half, and then you do another one, and then another year and a half. So it's every about a year and a half or so. There's what they call a assessment survey, a climate assessment survey. And this is the peons' times, the subordinates' time to sit there and anonymously give leadership as a whole constructive criticism. Hey, this person's not around as much as I wish they would show their face a little bit more. They're unreachable. Hey, I don't feel like I'm heard here. Hey, this is what we're doing here is unsafe, and this is going to cause a workplace accident. Anything that you want to bring up at that point in time, that's your chance. So we did that. My entire work center did that, and then we had a meeting about it, and the boss brought up none of the concerns and said, okay, we looked at the comments, and there wasn't really anything that we felt that warranted feedback. So here's how we're going to move forward. And that was it. There was nothing there. And so all of the workers really kind of felt let down, because they're like, well, what about all of our comments? Like, they were singling people out. Like, hey, I really wish person X would talk better to his subordinates because he's a little bit of a douche nozzle. And none of that was brought up.
So they wasn't willing to listen to constructive criticism.
Yeah, and it was even in a anonymous form. Yeah, they wouldn't accept it. They wouldn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And they just said, yeah, okay, well, we're here and we're going to do things this way. And it's just, it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, why do we even bother? Why do we even try? And then you have these out briefs, right? If you're going to conduct an out brief with a person, I've read so many articles on this on LinkedIn and other places that they say, if you're doing an exit interview, don't sit there and bring up all the problems within the organization, because what you're doing is ending up really kind of burning that bridge. Because the best time to fix the problems is when you're within the system, not as you're leaving the system.
Correct.
But that's not the point of an exit interview. An exit interview is saying, hey, I can't really follow you. I can't, reprimand you. I can't, there's no repercussions for what you're saying. Give me your honest feedback. What can we do better? And then, and then try to make it better for the next people. That's what they're supposed to do, but that's not what ends up happening. What ends up happening is those people just go, everything's fine. Or if they do bring up problems, and they try to use you as a reference, what's going to end up happening is, well, this person, they're an okay worker, but they like to cause a lot of drama and stuff like that, and then that might hurt you on the next interview or something, next job. And it's silly to me. I'm like, just swallow your pride for half a second and listen to what people are saying.
Yeah. Well, that leads to the next one, where if you do receive constructive criticism, you got to be adaptable to growth and change as you see or as it needs fit. I mean, just because I don't like the color red doesn't mean everyone has to change the world because I don't like the color red. It's got to be constructive criticism with something that is actually adaptable.
Right. So if you're going to try to change something, that's great. Kudos to you guys to try to change something and grow. But be open to a grow in a direction that maybe you weren't expecting to grow in. If you're producing widgets A and B, and you finally get some criticisms that say, hey, if we counter use materials from A and B, we could make C. Why not make C? Like, why not do that? If there's a market for it, go ahead and start making that stuff and test the waters. Give it a 6 month to a year or 2 year trial period, and then see if it works. If you start making money on it, who knows? Maybe you found a new market that you can kind of break into and start doing that sort of stuff.
Right. So you'll be improving the process or improving your product or improving the widgets in the long run.
Right.
But you need to improve with confidence. You need to be moving forward with confidence and knowing that there is steps of A and B to make C in that whole process.
Right. Yeah. So you got to improve the confidence. I love bar rescue. Love me some bar rescue.
Sure.
And I was watching an episode today, and this poor woman, she cried at everything. She'd get overwhelmed with the problem, and she'd just break down and cry. And it drove me absolutely insane.
Same.
Because how are your subordinates supposed to be if you're over there in a corner crying as their leader? What are they supposed to be doing? Like, they have no direction. You're not giving them a person to look to for strength and assurance and saying, hey guys, we got this. We just got to kind of muscle through the next hour or so out of this rush, out of this busy season. We'll get there. If this busy season, quote unquote, because we're growing, lasts longer than I think it's going to, then I'll hire some more help to make it less busy on you guys.
Yeah, it doesn't really work that way. Your emotional intelligence is showing that you're actually weak-minded individual, and you can't handle stress. And you're not really showing that you're a true leader if you're going to break down and cry with your lack of confidence. You're not willing to adapt to that change. Mm-hmm. And your constructive criticism is just out the window. And you're not really listening because you're too busy bawling your eyes out. Yeah. And it bothers me so much when I get leaders are not perfect people. We're not. We are tasked with a high amount of responsibility. The amount of responsibility placed on our shoulders is almost second to none as leaders, because we have to sit there and do our jobs, be ready to step in at any of our subordinates' positions if they need to go down, and so we're tasked with a lot. There's a lot of reasons why a lot of leaders work long hours. They stay up. They're ready to go almost at a moment's notice and everything else.
And if that lifestyle is not for you, maybe you're not meant to be a leader.
Well, I just know how I react to someone's emotions. If I have a leader and I see that person, let's say, cry or just totally like bitch up for the moment, however you want to word that, their emotional intelligence is broken to me, and I can't look at that person the same way. Like,
yeah,
yesterday you was crying, and today you're trying to tell me something to do.
Right. Yeah. Or you're trying to yell at me for coming in 5 minutes late because I had a flat tire. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Why don't you go weep in the fucking corner some more and get the fuck out of my way? I don't see that person as a leader anymore. Like, if you need a take 5 seconds, go to the bathroom and take your fucking 5 seconds and just go and like, yeah. All right, I gotta get through this.
Yeah, pull it together.
Got it. And go out there with this fucking smile on your face, projecting an air of calm and confidence, and then go forth. But that takes us to the next point, which is you got to build your emotional intelligence. You have to realize that your own emotions, your employees or your subordinates or whoever, they feed off of your emotions. So if you're sitting there breaking down crying, they're going to be anxious and freaking out. So you need to be able to identify and manage your own emotions.
Well, yeah, if I see you freaking out crying about the situation, then how am I supposed to feel if my leadership is crying about this? Then what the hell am I supposed to do? Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ.
Right. And then on the other side of that coin, if you got an employee who's just a dick, bad attitude, and starts yelling at you for whatever, you need to be able to manage and say, hey, I get that you're angry at something. Maybe it's me, maybe it's the job, maybe it's some other stressor in your life, and you got to be able to react. But if you just break down because somebody's yelling at you and you think you take everything personally, you're not an effective leader. You're just there. You're just a person who's in the way trying to manage a situation that's out of your depth.
Yeah, so maybe you should step back in a fellowship role until you're ready to step up to a leadership role.
Right, exactly. And the thing is some people just never really get that emotional intelligence. I have people in my life who I will sit down and have uncomfortable conversations with, and I'm like, hey, I need you to do this, this, and this, and they just start crying down and breaking down and crying. And then what am I supposed to do as somebody is sitting across from me, and all I've asked them to do is like, hey, when you go to the bathroom, I need you to wash your hands after you go to the bathroom. I've noticed that you haven't been doing that. You're crying. Okay, yeah, I get that you're upset, but either you could start doing this or you can you can get the fuck out. Like, I'm not trying to be heartless, but this is a business and I have to run it the right way that I see fit. Period. Dot. Like, it's nothing personal. It's just business.
Yeah. Yeah, and I run into that quite. I don't want to say often. Let's just say I have run into that before, where I have to explain, like, this is business and your life is personal. Leave your personal life there. If you need time off, take that time off. But as of right now, this is business. We're not a charity. We're not doing this for fun or entertainment. This is actual business. So let's put on our business pants and let's conduct ourselves as such.
Well, and you've seen me. When I was new, 18, and I was working for you, I remember this clearly. My stepbrother died unexpectedly. I came in trying to work, and I thought I was good. And you took one look at me, and you're like, "You okay?" And I was like, my stepbrother just died." And you're like, well, "Let's go talk to the bosses." And I was like, "Okay." So we talked to the bosses, and I broke down crying in the middle of the office, not even realizing how much it affected me. But you didn't sit there and like cry with me. You just sat there and was like, "All right, let me take care of you and get you along your way." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And you knew what to do and knew how to take care of me, knew what I needed to accomplish and go forth and conquer. And I had to take that time to mourn that loss. I had to take that time. There was no if, ands, or buts. Like, I would have not been an effective worker for you unless I took that time.
And it's important for someone in a leadership role to be able to identify those type situations and be able to take control of those situations. If not, you would have, not necessarily you, but it's probably could have affected the whole team. The whole team could have been affected and not produced any widgets that day at all.
Right, yeah, because then they would have tried to worry about me. How was I doing? Am I okay? You know, and then it brings down the rest of the team. Get it? You're concerned for your coworker, your teammate, your partner, your whatever. But, you know, you gave me that time and I was able to get through it. I took like a week, came back, and I was stronger than ever. And I went forth and conquered, and there was no issues, no lasting issues, no nothing. Because I was able to just take that time, and you were able to be like, hey, hold on. You're not okay. I don't want you working in this condition.
There's another aspect of leadership that I see a lot of, I would say strong leaders, in a sense. What they tend to do often is they don't delegate as much. They don't feel comfortable delegating because they have that sense like if they can't do it right, it has to be done by me.
That's called micromanaging, good sir.
That's laid on this list. That whole list is all part of that. But if you don't feel comfortable delegating a task to someone, then either A, that person isn't trained or equipped to handle the situation and you have failed at your job, or B, you just refuse to delegate because you're one of those that seek all the power and knowledge and not willing to share.
And then you failed at your job.
And
Because I'm serious. I don't know how many times I've trained people. I was training my replacement because I'm about to leave my current job. I'm going to go to a new job. And I was training my replacement, and I was sitting there talking to him, and he wanted to go check on something else. And I said, stop. We have somebody whose literal job is to take stock of these individuals, these teams, figure out what they're all doing, and report back to you. And then you say, all right, now I need them to go do job X. And so they go from job B to job X. And that person will go make sure that they go from job B to job X. You don't need to go do it. You need to sit back and let your people do their job. Because if you're doing it for them, what is the point? What is their point? You just took their job from them.
Right. And then
well, I'm just checking. No,
removed all accountability.
Yeah. I was like, no, you're not just checking. I get like there's certain aspects to it, and there's certain times in high profile jobs that you need to be the one because you need answers to check that person individually. But on a routine job, just stay the fuck out of their way. Drive around, make sure people like you walk around, drive around if you're in a big site, whatever, construction job or whatever. But if you're like, walk around, just look. You don't have to engage. Hey, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Spot check. Are they doing the safety stuff? Are they doing their documentation properly? Are they doing everything properly? All right, cool. And then just walk away. Walk away. You don't need to get the updates. You got a person that's coming around behind you to get your updates for you. Just go. All right, cool. Got it. Yep. I understand. I'm just here to check some other stuff as an added layer of protection. I'm not stepping on my underlings' toes because, believe it or not, leaders can step on their subordinates' toes. Because if you're trying to do their job for them, that's called micromanaging, and you don't need to do that.
You need to micromanage less.
Very much so. And it's a hard habit to break because it requires a lot of trust in the people that maybe you did or maybe you didn't choose to be in that position. And it takes time to build that trust with people.
Well, you could be one of those high energy, high knowledgeable, like personnel, and that's just how you go. That's how you're motivated to move in life. But there's certain positions where you have to take that step back.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to tell my replacement. I said, hey man, take a step back. Look at what's the bigger picture here, and what do you mean? I said, okay. I said, job. I said team A is doing job X and B. All right, so they're on X. You got to go move to B. So why is that a thing? Oh, well, because these 3 items. Okay, so what about the other 2 items on that list? Oh wait, this is something only I can do. I'm only the one trained for this. I got to go behind them and do this. Like, oh, okay, cool. So go do that. While they move off to B, you go do Z. That's your task, and let your other person worry about moving them from X to B.
Yeah, technically, you really don't need to step in unless the dominoes aren't falling.
Right, exactly. And you just gotta take a step back and look at that bigger picture, because once you get to a leadership role, it's hard to transition from, like, let's say, a team leader type role to a section leader type role where you're managing a bunch of different teams, because now you have an affinity for this team because you were their leader, and so now you're worried about everybody else's team. So now you got to sit there and go, okay, my team leaders, let's check in with all this stuff and give me some reports, because now I got to worry about a bigger picture type aspect. And how are we doing with all this stuff? And okay. And then that ends up taking more of your time. You don't even end up worrying about that other team.
Yeah, which falls to a few others that's on this. Like, you want to practice transparency, and you want to improve your time management. So if you're micromanaging, or if you don't feel comfortable delegating, your time management is going to go out the window.
Yeah, time management is so hard, because if you get inundated on a menial task, I hate, but I like that quad chart, right? So you have the four squares, where it's like, this is your fire square, this is your, it's high priority, high time, and then it's like, hey, this is high priority, low time, then it's like low, like low priority, low time, and then low priority, high time. So these are your tedious tasks. Hey, this is a low priority, but it takes a lot of time to do this. Hey, this is really high priority, it takes really long time to do this, but it's like a fire, I got to put this out now. And hey, by the way, this is a high priority, but it doesn't take anything to get these done. Okay, knock out all those, and then start working on the other high priorities, high time ones, so you can worry about your other stuff. I hate that chart, but I like it at the same time, because people still don't know how to prioritize. Because and I'll see it on our list here, but prioritization management is just as important as time management, because if you prioritize incorrectly, your time management's going to be off.
Well, yeah, you're going to get the wrong task accomplished when you have that high fire item that needs to get done, and you're on that low priority one with high time. Now you waste all your time on something that's a low priority. Now, like, what the fuck you been doing with this whole time? I see it on cooking shows.
Yeah.
On cooking shows, they do like a raw salad or something, and they got like 2 hours to make it. And when they present it to the judges, whatever, they're like, what did you do with your time? Well, I made a salad. Well, yes, good, but you didn't utilize your time properly.
Yeah, you had 2 hours. How long did it take to chop up all these vegetables for this fucking salad? You couldn't chop and be boiling, like cooking something else on a fucking skillet? Like, seriously? I actually had this problem with a subordinate of mine. He was concerned we had overdue tasks, and then we had missed appointments. And he was more focused on overdue tasks than fixing the people who were missing their appointments. So he's like, well, I was like, hey man, why are people missing their appointments? Oh, because people aren't paying attention. But I knocked down our overdue tasks. I don't give a shit about our overdue tasks. Those take like 3 seconds a piece. Why the fuck are people not making it to their safety training on time? Well, I don't know. Well, maybe you should fucking dig into that, because if I got people who say they're good on all these tasks, but they can't do their job safely because they missed their safety training, then I got no fucking employees. Oh, I guess I didn't think about it like that. So fucking prioritize correctly. Time management is a fucking thing. It drove me up a wall because I couldn't get it through his skull. Transparency, I think, is a huge one. Hey, guys, we got to do this, and this. Here's the reasons why. Go forth and conquer. hey, here's my standard. This is what I'm holding you to. I want 16 widgets a day. Why do you want 16, boss? The normal's only 15. Got it. I want an extra one so that way we can, if you happen to miss, if something comes up and you miss one, and shooting for 16, you could still fall short and hit the standard. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Cool. That's my transparent. That's my standard. This is it. Everybody knows my standards. They're right here.
Yeah, that's one thing I see that could be missing with some leaders as they come up. They expect so much, but if they don't vocalize or if it's not written on the wall for everyone to see, then how would I know? I can't read your mind, so let's be transparent about what you're actually looking for. This goes to like when your wife or whatever was like, hey, I'm hungry, I want something to eat. Okay, what you want to eat? I don't care. And you name off like 18 places and they still say no. It's like, I don't know what the fuck you want then.
Obviously, you do fucking care.
Obviously. That part was transparent.
Yeah. It drives me nuts because I'm very much the type of person that's I like to set my standards up front, and I respect a lot of leaders who set standards up front. I actually had a guy, he worked for me, and he was saying whenever he came on to a team, he said he would pull everybody to the side and say, hey, here's my standards, this is what I expect, boom, lay it out day one, so that way he's like, does anybody have any questions, because I'm only saying this today, this is not going to be a thing, any questions about this, and people would ask him questions, he'd make sure he understood, and then he had no problems because everybody understood the transparency of why he wanted things done the way he wanted them done.
Yeah, I believe my biggest window for that was just tell me what's going on. Don't try to hide it. Don't lie. Have a strong work ethic, and just let's keep grinding. Let's keep moving.
Yeah. It drives me nuts when I can't get people to commit and be transparent on what the fuck, what is it that exactly that you want.
Yeah, we hit over micromanage. I'm not going to go back over that because micromanage it kind of falls in line with everything that we was discussing earlier.
Yep, I agree.
All right, build a dynamic team. We spoke on that several times before. And just because you didn't have the pick of your team, you have to be able to utilize your tools effectively. So if you know you got someone that's good at math, put them on a math task. If you know you got someone good at weeding, I don't know, put them in the gardening task. However you see fit, you should utilize your team to the best how their dynamic is built.
Right, but that's not to say, you also have to become a mentor and build up those people that are now working for you. Okay, hey, you're good at this, he's good at that, got it. In a high priority situation, I'm going to have you guys do what you're good at. But also, I want you who's good at this and you who's good at that. I want you guys to switch so that way you can do his job, he can do your job, and I can cross-utilize you guys as I need, because maybe there's a task that's that's only going to be job A, and I need you over here. And if you say, oh, I can't do job A because I'm only good at B, then what the fuck good are you as my team, as part of my team?
100%. The mentorship goes quite far, because if you utilize that properly, then everyone's going to look to you for the answers to solve somewhat of their problems to begin with. So if you got cross training of A and B, your mentorship is just running that much deeper.
Well, and the thing to me, at least, is that the other portion of being a mentor is, it allows you to see problems before they develop. You would be amazed at how many problems people will bring to you before they become problems that you can solve.
Well, becoming an approachable mentor helps.
Yeah, an approachable and available mentor.
Yeah,
because it does you no good if you're like, yeah, I'm a motherfucking mentor, and ain't nobody bring you shit. Nobody talks. Nobody talks to you. Nobody says nothing to you. You're just like, yeah, I'm an approachable fucking, I'm a goddamn great mentor. But yet nobody's coming to talk to you about any of the problems. You aren't a mentor. You aren't. You're fooling yourself.
One thing I did do as a leader is something I think is valuable for almost any leader would do is lead by example.
Yeah.
Like if I got 5 subordinates sweeping the floor and I'm just sitting there with my arms crossed playing Candy Crush or some shit on my phone, that's not really leading by example.
Nope.
So if I pick up a broom and help them sweep up whatever's going on, well, whatever menial task, I'm just using sweep because that's menial to me. Then that shows that I'm right there with you guys. I can lead by example. You know what? I'm gonna sweep more than you guys. That's what I'm gonna do. No, you're not. Oh, yes, I am.
Yeah. So my thing always is we had a coworker, you and me, and I loved what she always did. She always picked up a broom or a mop at the end of the day and would just start sweeping and mopping the floor because it was required to be done at the end of the day. And people would come up and try to take this stuff out of her hands, and she would tell them, go fuck themselves. If you want to help, go get another broom and another mop, and we can get this done twice as quick. And I loved it. I loved it about her because I was like, hell yes. Because that was leading by example. Because if she sat there and was, just doing whatever, like, oh, I'm a manager, I don't have to do that stuff. No, fuck that. She was like, no, you want to fucking try to take this out of my hands? Go fuck yourself. Go get a goddamn another broom. The janitor's closet's right over there. Go get another broom, another vacuum, another mop, whatever the case is, some trash can liners. We'll have this whole thing done in no time. Don't take shit out of my hands. Go help me with stuff.
Right. I remember that. Yeah. And it goes a long way. I mean, 100% goes a long way. People will talk. We're talking about that now. It goes a long way. People will remember stuff like that.
Yeah, and they'll sit there and go, oh man, I remember I had this one person, this one leader, and they would tell me to go fuck themselves, fuck myself, and I would have to go get another broom or mop, and then they go, oh, maybe I should try doing that, and then they'll grow to be a leader and get trained as a replacement and go be another and do that, and then that passes on to another generation and another and another and another, and that's how it keeps going.
Hopefully that's what it leads to.
Hopefully.
I don't like using the word hope.
Yeah, should.
One thing a leader can do, a goal that a leader should do is offer more helpful, constructive feedback. Instead of just saying you suck, maybe you probably should work on your TPS reports a little more.
Get good, scrub. Like, what? Don't tell me just get good. What do I need to get good at? I remember I had a person, and people would just write this individual off. They'd write this guy off. And I told him, I was like, look, man, if you would just do this stuff, that would help out so much. And if you could do X, Y, and Z, and that would be amazing. And then he started doing that stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. Now let's try adding in P, Q, and R. And he'd be like, oh, all right, well, I could do that too. And all right, cool. And then I just started offering, hey, you're good in there. You got P down. You got Q down. Let's work. This is your R needs a little bit more of this. And okay. Don't just be like, hey, your R sucks. Fuck you. Like, get better at it and walk off. That doesn't help anybody. What do I need to get better at?
Right. And I see that's missing a lot. A lot of people just write off, be like, you know what? Bob can never get this part right. We're not even going to fuck with Bob. Let's get Johnny and Timmy to do it because Bob fucking sucks.
There's a time for that. Like if Bob is a year from retirement, okay, fine, whatever, write Bob off. But if Bob is like brand new to the team, fucking help him out, man. Like, hey, I noticed that you struggle with this. Let's sit down and go over it and see if I can't help you get a little bit better at this stuff because I'm tired of having to clean up your report. I'm tired of having to go back behind you and do this stuff all the time. Oh, well, I didn't even know that was required. The way I was trained by this guy who was disgruntled and left the company was this. Okay, well, you were trained incorrectly, so I'm going to train you correctly, and then this is what I expect from the future. Oh, okay, sure thing, boss. How fucking hard is that? Boom, done. You just saved your own fucking self some time. And now they trust you even more because they're like, hey, you trained me on this, and now you're good. Now I got it, and blah blah blah, blah, and now I'm gonna train other people. Like, hey, perfect, man. That's one less thing I have to worry about.
Well, doing steps and moving forward with items of that particular nature, it also improves employee relations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because maybe Bob and Tim don't quite get along well, but both of them are almost proficient at each of their own individual tasks. But if they can come together and learn each other's tasks, maybe there's something in there that's going to improve their relationship to where that's going to be a dynamic team that you just helped build.
Yeah. Well, and I remember when I was first starting out, me and another guy, I would say that we were the rock stars of our team. This was when I was a team member, not a leader. We were the rock stars of the team. And you had our team leader come and talk to me and him and ask, hey, do you guys feel that you're better than they are? And I'm like, I don't really know that I'm better than they are. I just try to put my head down and work. Like, I don't have any ill will against anybody. And the other guy was like, nah, fuck that. I know that we are better than they are. So they need to fucking step up. And they had to be like, we had to have a whole sit down of like, hey, why do you not like this? And why do you do this? And da, da, da. And it ended up being a perceived slight. They were perceiving this attitude from me and this other guy more than an actual, like, this is what we were telling them. We weren't telling them like, hey, you guys fucking suck. We're so much better than you. They were just like, you guys always get all this other stuff and we get shit. Like, we just do what needs to get done. You're already working on part A, so we're gonna start on part B. Like, we're not trying to do this, like trying to get ahead of you guys or be better than you guys. We're just doing the next step. Oh, okay. Well, I thought you just didn't want to help me on A. No, I don't give a shit. I'll do A and you can do B. I don't care.
The same goal is going to get accomplished. I remember that too.
Yeah. But another goal you should do is improve decision-making skills. And I can't stress this enough, especially when crunch time comes. Because when crunch time comes and you have a split second to make a decision, you have to sit there and make that decision. You can't sit there and hoe and hum until the cows come home. You have to sit there and make a fucking decision. You have to get off the fence and make a fucking decision. Plant yourself in either side. But once you plant yourself in either side, you got to stick with it. Unless evidence proves you wrong, you got to stick with your decision. Yeah, and I see people too many times flip-flopping back and forth.
Yeah, that was one leader I had, and that kind of stuck with me with one of the things he said, because I thought he like pretty much hated me. I don't know, whatever the fuck, right? But he said that the worst decision is not making one. He's like, I'd rather for you to just make it right, wrong, or whatever. Just make a decision and go with it. If it's wrong, you know what's going to happen? You're going to learn from it. You're going to learn every reason why that was the wrong decision. But if it's the right one, you're going to improve your own self-confidence, and you're going to move forward, and you're going to become a better leader for it.
And you're going to help the team solve the problem that they have been having. But yeah, the decision-making skills, because if you just hoe and hum, you can't imagine if a general or somebody was hoeing and humming about whether or not to go on the offensive versus the defensive. Hey, should we hole up here in this canyon, or should we march forward and try to take the enemy base? Well, we just know that we won the battle over here, and the enemy might be weak, but I think we should go on the defensive. Now, well, maybe, I don't know. Should we? I don't know if we should wait for reinforcements. And no, like, by the time you make a decision, the enemy's going to overcome you after you just whip their ass. But, if you strike while the iron's hot, it is better. Like, my dad used to always tell me, lingering, I guess there was an old song or something, I don't know, my grandfather told him, he said, lingering is but folly. And basically I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, if you sit there and you don't wait and you don't make a decision quickly enough, what that ends up being is that ends up being your downfall because you didn't make a decision quick enough to strike while the iron's hot. So now you end up having a bunch of other problems because you didn't make a decision quickly enough.
When you was going back and forth with the story, in my head, what I pictured in my head was a general ordering a platoon and they're marching to the right. And then he changes his mind. So now they march to the left. He changes his mind. They march back to the right. It's like a shooting gallery with those ducks. Where they go to one side and you
ding, ding.
So I can see like the link. Well, I mean, I even do that in dominoes. Study long, study wrong, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, there's something what drives me nuts. Like, oh well, maybe, and it drives me nuts. Like the cafeteria line. Should I have the chicken or should I have the beef? Bitch, make a decision.
I'm hungry.
Make a decision. I don't care. It's just fucking protein. Get your shit. Get off. I do this. It drives me nuts in grocery stores when I go to a grocery store and there's like an old person in front of me, and not every person does it, but they'll sit there and they'll like stare at 2 different cans of green beans. Do I want this one that's French cut or do I want fresh cut? And I'm like, it's fucking green beans. Just make a fucking decision and get on with your fucking life. Does it matter?
Or move your cart from the middle of the aisle so I can get by. One of the two.
Yeah, I just walk up and just choose something and like, excuse me, and walk around. I'm like, I just ain't got time for you.
You're better than I, because I just run over that cart.
Yeah, I at least say excuse me.
Oh.
But another one is you guys got to be like, doing that will help you become aware of your team's personal strength, because if you make a decision that you're gonna go with A and you're like, hey, Timmy and Bob made it, but Zach and Craig didn't make it. Okay, cool. So Timmy and Bob are good at this. Zach and Craig probably would have been better if I would have went with B, but okay, can't make everybody happy. And so, but I made a decision. We got to stick with it. We got to go forth and push forward on it. And it just sucks, but you got to do it. You got to stick with your guns until the evidence says otherwise. You just got to make a decision and go forth.
Yeah, you choose one way, and 2 of your 5 teammates of your team are great at it. But if you went the other way, 3 or 4 of the teammates of the 5 are better at that task. So, I mean, I can clearly see your personal growth, the personal decision making with your team decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you in your final third?
I am in my final third, sir.
How's it going?
Leather has been the bespoke, or leather has been the forefront of this cigar. Cedar is still there. I'm assuming cedar is part of the filler, with leather being more of the
back note.
Yeah. Well, no. Leather is definitely on the forefront. I think leather wrapper. That's the word I'm looking for. Wrapper and binder, I feel is the stronger of the leather, and filler bringing in that cedar. It's really great. I love this cigar. I don't want to say it's been one note because it's been peaks and valleys of leather and cedar throughout, but it's definitely been a very, very good cigar. Yeah.
Mine is I still get like an earthy, woody palate. But my texture, like that texture, to lack of a better term, that texture component.
The chewy bark.
Yeah, it's kind of mellowed into like cream.
Okay.
It's very good, very, very good. This has actually been a surprisingly good cigar. It's honestly, if I could get more of these, I'd probably buy some more. I'd say this is at least a 5-pack worthy, if not like a box of 10 or 20.
Mine is definitely box worthy. I 100% enjoyed everything about this cigar. It's I always get this mixed up. It has very little palate trauma, so it's a short finish. That's the word I was looking for. Okay, short finish. So it's a short finish, and it's actually pairing very well with my Hennessy. I wish I had drunk the Hennessy neat. I did put an ice spear in it, so if I will pick these up again. I'm pretty confident, because not everyone is looking for a Lonsdale. It has nothing to do with the flavor or the make of the cigar. it's a Lonsdale. No one's looking for it.
Right.
And I would definitely have it with a neat.
Yeah, that rum paired very nicely. Like, had a little bit of spice in the rum, but overall, like, smooth, almost sweet finish with a little bit of spice on the back end. That paired really well with the cedar and the black pepper, and then like notes of vanilla and like kind of cream.
Oh, yeah, that I would probably smoke yours with a heavier, maybe a VSOP to get more of that vanilla to match it.
Yeah, it's good. This is right up my alley. I definitely could tell it's a medium to full, like medium-esque cigar. I'm feeling it. It's really, really good cigar. I have enjoyed this one quite thoroughly. But ultimately, the goals of leadership come down to this. You got profit in the sense of production to accomplish work, people to bring the best out in people with respect, service, which is how well you've served others to uplift them, and then for the greater good. This will benefit your future generations. So you need to keep those in your forefront. Profit, people, service, and greater good. That's what this whole list kind of boils down to.
Yeah, with a combination of all of those. If you look at profit, it's making money. Your people is the one that's making the money for you. Your people are the one that's providing that service. And your greater good is the bigger picture of course, wanting your company or whatever to be profitable by using your people to perform a service.
Right. Yeah, it's absolutely. I can't even think of a better way to put it.
It fits. I mean, these are just, of course, I mean, leadership is one of those topics you can talk forever about, right?
Yeah, and there's a myriad of different opinions out there too. I mean, ours is not by any means, I think, the end all be all, but we are definitely tried, and we have been through it and tried it and seen what good leaders can be. We've all seen what good leaders can be. We've all seen what bad leaders can be. If you take your notes from what good leaders are and you take notes from what bad leaders are to avoid those characteristics, you're going to be steered in the right direction.
Well, I 100% know throughout my livelihood of going through the different levels of management, leadership, however you want to place it. I know I've done wrong. I know I have not led by example every single time. I know I have not utilized my time management wisely. I know some areas where I can use improvement, but I have looked at each level that I have accomplished said task, and these are the ones that kind of stand out. If you was actually to move forward with a positive direction of majority of everything that we talked about on this list, you're definitely going to be going in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I could say the same thing. I've definitely not done my time management. I've definitely micromanaged in some areas where I'm like, I should need to take a step back. I've tried to do better in the active listening portion. Part of that has been like literally stopping what I'm doing. If I'm writing an email and somebody says, "Hey, can I come in and talk to you?" I'll either say, "Can you wait till I finish this email?" Or if it's not that important of an email, I'll be like, "Sure." And I will like turn off my monitors, and that way I am just looking at that person. I don't have anything on my screen. I don't have anything on my computer. Let me take literally kind of shut my computer off and focus completely on you. That helps me to become that mentor that people think, oh, he actually respects me and respects my time. This is great. I'm being heard. And it's hard to do because we all have that alpha mentality. But it is, worthwhile endeavor to invest in your people.
Well, yeah, you invest enough time, you follow the rules of the game, so to speak, and what ends up happening is you have someone that's going to be on your side almost forever.
Yeah, absolutely. And that helps you just build that strong team and helps build those people up. Like I said, I'm leaving my current job, and about a week. I'm leaving it in a week. I have next week, and then I leave on Monday. And I have people still coming up to me and texting me and asking questions all the way up until I'm leaving. And I tell them, if you guys need help after I'm gone, you have my phone number. Give me a call. Send me a text. Do whatever needs to get done to get a hold of me if you really have a question that hey, I only trust you in this instance. I'm there for you guys. And those people have worked. They've moved mountains for me and made me look good. So I do everything I can to make them look good.
Yes, sir. Profit, people, service, greater good. Boom. All in one roll. All in one.
Oh, this has been a good topic. I've enjoyed this. We've talked about all the leadership goals, and we got to talk about Lonsdales, and both got pleasantly surprised by our Lonsdales.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend a Lonsdale to anyone that's listening. If you haven't smoked a Lonsdale yet, go find one. Find the time, sit back, light it up, and enjoy it.
Yeah. I think this one, if I would had paired it with like a nice coffee in the morning and sat back and watched a show or something, whatever you do on a Sunday or a Saturday morning or something like that, you just sit back and you kind of enjoy just this good solid smoke. I could see not having to pair this with rum, but I could see pairing this with like a coffee or something. Oh, this is such a good cigar. It burned quicker than I thought it would. And it's just been so enjoyable of a smoke that I was actually surprised.
Yeah. So what, you had Room 101 farce?
Room 101 farce, yep.
And I had a ZR Lonsdale Especial.
Yeah.
So recommend them both.
Yep. But until next time, I'm Austin.
And this is Dice.
We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thank you for listening to Leadership of the Leaf. The comments and opinions expressed by the host and guests does not reflect the opinions of those that broadcast this show, nor does it reflect any of our affiliates.
Don't forget, we need to follow the podcast so we know when new episodes drop.